Hey you guys, happy Friday! Oh my gosh, we made it to Friday. We made it to day 5. And so comment in the chat day 5 if you're super excited for day 5. I know I am. I love Fridays. In my world, Friday is full body Friday. Actually, this morning the alarm went off and Scott, I call him Pop Tart, he popped out of bed and he's like, babe, it's full body Friday. And I was like, oh my goodness. So full body Friday is a workout I do on Fridays. I teach it live on Zoom. Comment in the chat below, like what workout are you doing today? Or what workout did you do today? I'd love to know. I know for some of us, like the walks or the workouts, and that's fine. But if you're doing some strength training, if you're doing a bike ride, if you're doing some sort of workout, I'd love to know. I love fitness. As you all know, I've been a personal trainer for 12 years now. That's how I got started in this business. And I believe in fitness freedom as well, like really embracing all different types of exercise, strength training, cardio, dance, yoga, Pilates, bar. Some of you guys know I used to be the group exercise director at the Fitness Equation in Ashburn, Virginia, and I would hire instructors in all these different areas, Zumba even. So I am an advocate of all kinds of fitness. So why don't you comment in below, like your favorite type of fitness? I just love to know. And one of the reasons why I ask this question is because I find that a lot of my friends and women that I've just particularly bonded with, we all have bonded over the love of fitness. And this is why I think it's really important to have communities where we meet like-minded people, right? That those of us who value health and wellness, and this is the power of community. I'll be talking more about the power of community over the weekend here in the group, but go ahead and type community in the comments below if you know just like some community is something you really love, value, and like need in your life. Like it really helps you keep consistent, keep motivated, and moving forward on your health journey. Type community in the chat. And even myself as a health and wellness coach, and like, this is my passion, this is my profession, I know that community helps me as well. I told my FitFam members this morning when we finished the workout, I'm so grateful for you ladies working out with me because honestly, I woke up this morning and you guys hear how I sound still. I'm still a little sick and I did not want to work out. So Scott was jumping up and down for Full Body Friday and I'm like, oh my God, I have to go teach in 45 minutes. And I want you guys to know in full transparency that even trainers, even fitness professionals, like we have our ups and downs of motivation. Okay, I'm actually walking today with one of my friends, Alyssa, who lives here in Telluride, and she's a trainer, and we were talking about like how we, dip with motivation sometimes. She just came back from Hawaii, and she's like, I put on 7 pounds, oh my gosh, and this is a trainer talking, and so it's just getting back on the horse. And as you guys can see, I'm wearing my hat today. Anyone else like live in hats? Here in Colorado, I feel like I'm wearing a baseball hat or a cowboy hat. Right, so I figured I'd wear a hat for you guys today. I actually had this one designed for me here in Telluride, so super exciting. But here's what we're going to talk about today, right? We're not just talking about workouts. We're not just talking about, Friday, yay. But I want to just take a moment, and I put this in my email today to you guys. I want to take a moment to celebrate, all right? You've made it to day 5, and I see the energy in the room, right? I see your comments. I see your pictures. I see your energy. And I feel it. And I want to again thank you ladies for even pushing me this week. Like I said, I'm never sick, honestly, but just seeing your energy has really pushed me through. I hit over my baseline yesterday, and I just again feel really honored to be leading all of you, and you are all just inspiring me. So let's just celebrate. Comment celebrate in the chat here to celebrate making it to day 5. We still have a few more days to go, right? But today is going to be a big day. Because as I said in my email, today is the day where everything clicks. Over the last few days, we've developed the desire to walk. We have found the time to walk. We've dropped the sexy excuses of why we're not walking, right? Would you skip your daughter's doctor's appointment? Would you tell your daughter you have to go fold laundry so you can't go to her appointment? No, right? A lot of people tell me, well, I don't walk because I have laundry to fold. I've got dishes to wash. Can't those wait 10, 15 minutes? Hello, they've been sitting. It's 15 minutes, okay? So we can make the time, we can create the desire, we can drop the excuses. And what I'm gonna talk about right now is how to make walking something you crave to do. How to look at walking like a hobby, okay? So let's talk about hobbies for a moment. And I would love for everyone in the comments below, go ahead and type like, what are your hobbies? Like, what do you like to do in your free time? So is it to read? Do you like to knit? Do you like to, some people say travel's a hobby. Travel's one of my hobbies. I don't know if you guys see behind me here, I have a map of the world. I actually got this for Scott and I's, our 1-year anniversary gift a couple of years ago. And it's a map of the world, and we pinned where we've been with one color. I think it's red. We've pinned where we've been in the world. Green is like where we want to go next. Okay, and then I had Noah also have pins for him too. So we're travelers in our house. Okay, and I see a lot of you guys travel too. So I want you guys to think, okay, travel is a hobby, sure, right? Golf, you know, a lot of you guys know I love to golf now. I used to hate golfing a couple years ago. And then I was invited on a girls' golfing trip, or a weekend, or a night actually, by Kristen here in the group, Kristen Holbrook, thank you so much. And it was that trip, that one night out, that really made me want to golf more. It made me want to get better. And it was the bonding with other women that inspired me. Prior to that, I was golfing for a year with my boyfriend Scott and his son Noah. And like, I didn't like it as much because like they've been golfing for a long time and I was new. So just being part of this women's group, and I call it a movement, they got me to move. Okay, and now I participate in tournaments. I love golf. We golf all over the place. Nicole, I know you're in Scottsdale right now golfing. Well, you're at the spa. The guys are golfing. But one year you will actually want to golf if you ever want to get into it. I love it. Maybe you're a biker, right? You like to hike. Comment in the chat with your hobbies. Maybe like fashion's a hobby of yours. You like to make or sew clothes. I used to bedazzle when I was a kid. You guys remember bedazzle, like bedazzling jackets? I actually had denim shirts that I would bedazzle. I was also like obsessed with Gloria Estefan as a kid, because my dad actually worked with her. She was a client of his, and I like would go to her house in Miami and like see her clothes, and I was like, oh my god, I want to be Gloria Estefan. True story. Okay, so comment in the chat with your hobbies. Okay. And, you know, for me, like tennis is a hobby. You know, I grew up playing tennis. My dad is still an avid tennis player, age 66. Or no, actually, oh my God, he just turned 70 this year. Oh my Lord. Yes, just 70. Pickleball has become a hobby. Okay. I'm going to drop a link in the chat, actually, to one of my podcast episodes. I just sent it to a client of mine this morning, Ellen. She's new in TLA. It's called The Importance of Active Hobbies. So I'm going to put that in the chat because that's going to be a nice complement to today's talk, okay? But here's why I'm talking about hobbies today. Is because our goal, whether it's by the end of this week, which I would love, but if it takes longer, it takes longer. Our goal is to look at walking as a hobby. Not like I have to be healthy or to lose weight or get fit. And even further than I get to walk. Like that was what we talked about on Wednesday, right? I get to walk, right? And then today, I want us to start leaning into what's possible for you of believing I choose to walk because it's a hobby, right? Just like I choose to go golf, I choose to travel, I choose to read, I choose to cook. Cooking can be a hobby. It's not my hobby. I do it, but it's not my hobby. You know, what we choose our hobbies. And what's so cool about hobbies, most hobbies I should say, is that we're learning a new skill. Okay, we're like using our brain, and that's super important to do as we age, right? So we avoid dementia, you know, all these different, you know, things that happen as we age. So it's important to keep active in our brain. And this is also why I love strength training. Right. And I'm thinking of Danita's sister, Jocelyn, and Lala's sister, Jocelyn, who was a client of mine as well in CMW. And she would do my workout. She was 68 years old. And she would talk about when she was lifting, that it was strengthening the neurological pathways in her brain. And that was like one of her motivators. I'll never forget this. And this was like 5 years ago, guys. And like a lot of you guys know, I have an incredible memory. Danita says I have the memory of an elephant. I didn't even know they had strong memories, but I remember every little detail from clients. And I remember her saying that. And so I always tell my clients, when you work out, not only are we building physical strength, but also mental strength. And we do that in hobbies as well. You know, golf is the most frustrating sport on the face of the planet, but it makes me mentally stronger. Okay. I also believe that walking makes me physically and mentally stronger. Why? Because it promotes physical and mental health. I easily and instantly become a calmer person. And I'm a Jersey Italian, I'm fired up, and half Puerto Rican, mind you. So I can easily get fired up. Walking relaxes me, right? Walking gives me light in life. Okay. So let's talk more about walking becoming a hobby. That's our goal for today. So a lot of you guys know I'm an avid hiker. Okay. Part of the reason why I moved to Telluride is because I loved being in nature and I love the hiking here. I've hiked all over the world. And I really, really enjoy the hikes here. And so I wasn't always an avid walker, ladies, believe it or not. I wasn't like coming out of the womb, like loving to walk. Okay. And even like, I would say 6-7 years ago, when I was living in Florida full time, I was a personal trainer, I was a teacher, I was doing both. Right. But walking wasn't part of my daily routine. It wasn't something I thought about. Yes, I had a dog, Mastro, who's sitting next to me right now. So I would go walk him. And I would walk, from my townhouse in downtown Delray to the gym, Men's Fit, which was right downtown. So I walked, 5 minutes. And so I would walk like that. And then even when I lived in Virginia, I would go on walks, but it wasn't like a thought. I didn't crave it. I would just kind of do it. But it was in 2020, believe it or not, the infamous year of COVID, right? That is when walking became a hobby for me. And here's what happened. So 2020, I was living in Florida, and one of my best girlfriends in Florida, Fawn, some of you might know her, she lived in Delray with me. And she wanted to move to Denver, Colorado. So she was, packing up her house. She sold her house and she's moving out to Denver. And so she's like, hey, Kristen, do you want to road trip with me cross country? I don't want to go alone. Like, do you want to come with me and my dog? And they had a pet lizard at the time. She's like, will you ride with us? And I'm like, okay. Guys, like the furthest road trip I've ever done was from like Virginia to like, I don't know, Ducks, or what is it? Corolla, I'm sorry, North Carolina for a wedding. So like I was not used to road trips by any means. And I was like, okay. So we drive across the country and I spend a week with her in Denver actually. And she was living in like Lodi area. And Fawn grew up in New Hampshire. So she loves to hike, ski, all those things. And I had been on like a couple hikes in my life, but nothing like major. I'm a Jersey girl, guys. We don't really hike much in Jersey. But I went on a couple hikes with her. And I was like, this is so effing cool. Like, oh my God, we hiked actually in Golden, Colorado, if anyone knows where that is. We hiked in Boulder. So we did a couple of local hikes. And then it was my time to go home. So I got back to Florida, okay, and, June 2020 in Florida, it was super hot. June's brutal in Florida, and they had just closed down everything in Florida again. And I was like, I want to go back to Colorado. And so I was married at the time, and my ex-husband and I decided to go rent an Airbnb for a month in Golden, Colorado. And for that whole month, and my friend Fawn was out there, and we hiked, I think, almost every day. Okay, we brought Master, my dog, and hiked all over. And that was probably the point where hiking became a hobby for me. Okay. And then I noticed that, outside of the hikes, I just developed this passion for walking. We would hike in the morning or the night because it was too hot in the middle of the day. And then, I would call up Fawn and say, hey girl, like, do you want to go for a walk? Let's go walk and grab a coffee. And she's like, yeah. So that's what got me into like walking dates and walking with a friend. Okay. And so again, this all started in 2020. And this was especially good for her because, we both work from home. We got to get out of the house and we would go do it together. And then if she was working, I would go by myself or with my dog or my husband at the time. And it was also that year where I decided, I was like, I'm going to live between Colorado and Florida. Like somehow, some way, I don't know, I'm going to make it work. Even though real estate prices were going up because 2020, like that's when the real estate market totally flipped. I love real estate, you guys know. So anyway, that's what happened. And I don't want you guys to think that you have to start hiking mountains to like walking. But what happened was that I realized how I felt at the end of a hike of just being out in nature. It doesn't have to be climbing mountains. It could just be in a park. So actually one of my challengers, Lejeune, I'm super excited. She texted me this morning. She goes, I heard you're going to be in Virginia next week. Can you and I meet up for a walk? And I'm like, oh my God, yes, please. And so there's a little park near my sister's house in Fairfax, Virginia, Eleanor Roosevelt Park. My Virginians, you know this. I actually taught a couple of fitness classes there before. And so I want to go walk in that park. And there's no mountains. It's just a park, but it's beautiful. There's water. It's just peaceful. So I just developed this love for being out in nature. And even, Denver, like there's not nature all over the place all the time. It's also a city. I just loved like the peace and quiet, and just looking at my surroundings. And so tomorrow's challenge, day 6, is about like exploring a new environment. So I'll talk even more about that tomorrow. But like I learned, ladies, that I was looking at walking now as a hobby. I could do it with a friend, right? I could do it on my own and listen to a podcast or, do whatever I needed to do. And like, this was a way to occupy my time in a way that wasn't just sitting and watching Netflix. This was a much healthier hobby, right? And guys, like, I'm not saying like you can't have not healthy hobbies, So my healthy hobbies, I would say hiking. I like tennis, pickleball. I like active sports. But yeah, I love wine tasting too. And I love tequila tasting. I like olive oil tasting. I mean, olive oil is healthy, right? But, like we all have our things. So I'm just like such an advocate of hobbies. And also I want to share something. So I talked about Ellen earlier. Ellen is a new member of TLA. She lives in Greenwich, Connecticut. And we were talking yesterday about one of her issues in losing weight right now is that she's just bored. She is single. She's just about 59 years old. She has grandkids close by, but she has a lot of time to herself and she gets lonely. And so I told her, I was like, I really think we should look into picking up an active hobby in your area so you can meet people. She's looking to date. You'll meet new people, you'll get out there. And she's a very social person already. But like her socializing can typically be like going to restaurants or like a happy hour. I'm like, let's find active hobbies. So Fawn and I, we would rather go for a walk than go to happy hour. My partner Scott and I, tonight we're going to go for a walk instead of go to happy hour because I'm sick. The last thing I feel like doing is drinking. So this is how walking has evolved as a hobby over time. And I also shared a little bit of my history and how I ended up in Colorado, and from Florida. But even when I'm in Florida, guys, like I will find little paths to go on. In Virginia, I'm always looking for new places. And I even invested in the Nordic Track treadmill because when I went from Colorado back to Florida and Florida was totally flat, I like the Nordic Track treadmill because of the incline and I could like hike in cool areas around the world. I'm not saying you have to do that, but again, it just became a real hobby for me. And people invest in hobbies. I mean, I'm a skier. Skiing's like a super expensive hobby. However, again, this is one of the ways in which we create desire and create the craving to walk, right? Because so many people tell me, I don't even think about walking. It's not on my radar. Like a lot of us this week, and I'm so glad you did this, you were scheduling your walks. But what if you didn't have to do that? What if your body was just like telling you, you need to get out and move? That's what's possible for you if you continue on this journey. You continue making the mental shifts of how we look at walking. I don't have to do it, right? It's not a must checklist item. It's an I get to. It's an I choose to. And Jenna, I know that really resonated with you. I'm so happy it did. And, I get to walk with my dogs. They need exercise too. Like Mastro, my 13-year-old, he's like one of the loves of my life. He walks 3 times a day and he's 13 years old and he's still kicking. Okay. And let's involve people. You don't have to do it alone. Walking is a great opportunity to connect with your neighbors, people in your community, your children. Like go walk with your kids. We'll bring Noah on walks with us sometimes. He's always up for it. He loves to explore. Right? And I think it harbors a lot of really good life skills, reflection, connection. right? Regulating your nervous system, right? How many of us need that in 2026? All of us. Some of you might have listened to my podcast episode with Dr. Harmony Brown. She's a functional medicine practitioner in Delray Beach, Florida. I've been a client of hers. She's helped so many clients of mine in the Lifestyle Accelerator, which is my group coaching program. And she talks about regulating their nervous system. And she says most of her clients are overstimulated, burnt out females. And that's why they go to her. And what she talks about in the podcast episode, ladies, listen to it. I emailed it out yesterday. I can put it in the chat again. Walking is going to help regulate your nervous system, right? So not only is it a hobby, it's fun. Yay. It's something good for our soul, for our head and for our heart, and for your lungs, obviously, too. Okay. So I want everyone real quickly below, comment in the chat with who are you walking with today? Okay, are you scheduled to walk with a friend, a neighbor? If it's your dogs, you can type that in the chat too. I'm supposed to walk with Alyssa, but if that doesn't happen, I'll go with my dogs or I'll grab Scott. I'll walk no matter what. So also, ladies, don't not walk if the person you're supposed to go with doesn't want to go or can't go. Do it anyway. Don't let it stop you. Okay? You are committed. You've made it to day 5. You got to keep going. Okay, I am super, super excited. So again, I wanted this to click for you, right? Walking is now a chosen activity. It's a hobby. Yay. Maybe you get new walking shoes, right? Maybe you get a cool outfit you wear when you walk, right? I have all kinds of walking gear. Maybe you get the watch. Those of you who are I've never needed a watch, I don't want one. Maybe now you want one because you're walking more. Treat yourself. And watches don't have to be expensive. You can literally go on Amazon. I had a client once, I forget which one it was, but it was on Amazon. It was $20. And she's like, oh my God, I found this great watch on Amazon for $20. I'm like, awesome. It does not need to be fancy. You don't need all the stats, right? Literally a pedometer is enough. But it's just great to kind of check in and see where you are. Okay. And so I know so many of you are just loving this challenge, and I'm loving this challenge. And if you think this is the energy and motivation boost that you needed, there is so much more ahead for you. Okay, this weekend's going to be amazing. And I have a special announcement coming for you guys later. I'll pop into the group this afternoon. But before I sign off here, as promised, and Cindy would never let me live it down if I forgot, I have 2 bonus challenges for you. Okay, so for those of you who are ready to kick it up a notch, you're like, Kristen, give me more. I can do it. All right, type in the chat, more, please. Type in the chat, more, please. I want to know who's up for the challenges. I've got 2 of them for you. One's easier than the other, okay? But here's the deal. If you do these for the next couple of days, okay, I'll give you bonus points, okay? It'll be 2 points per day per challenge that you do. And I'll update the form so you can fill it out in there that you did it. Okay, those of you who are trying to win a prize, this is for you. And if you're not trying to win a prize, that's okay too. You can still do it. I'll do these anyway, okay? Because these are my normal things. Okay, so here we go. Challenge number 1. So I call this the mini challenge number 1. All right, it's to hit 5K steps by noon. 5K steps by noon. Okay, so it's 10:30 Mountain Time. So if you're Mountain Time or Pacific Time, you still have plenty of time to hit 5K steps by noon. Central Time, you've got 30 minutes. If you're East Coast, it's probably a little late for you. That's okay. But if you already hit 5K by noon, type in the comments below. I already hit 5K. Yay. And it's 12 o'clock, whatever. Okay. And if it's too late today, you can do it tomorrow. You can do it Sunday. You've got time. Okay. But I love this little mini challenge. I use this a lot in my coaching because it gets you moving early on. And those of you who struggle with getting enough water in your day, I already know Treese and a few of you are going to get your water bottles right now. Having a noon water goal is also really helpful, breaking up your water goals. How we do one thing is how we do everything. Working in bite-sized pieces, right? This is how students do well in school. This is how adults do well in the world. Okay. So 5K steps by noon. And for you, and what I'll do in the chat, or I'm sorry, in the group, guys, is I'll make a new thread. And you guys can post like mini challenge, 5K by noon will be one post, and then one post will be the next challenge I'm going to announce for the second one. Okay, so 5K by noon, because it gets you moving early on, and it really helps set up your day for success. And I also love morning movement. I'm super big on it. Okay, bonus challenge number 2. Those of you who have done my challenges before, I love doing this over the weekend. Okay, anyone know what it is? Type in the chat. Who knows? Let me see. I see Cindy's live with me right now. Hi, Cindy J. Good to see you. You're kicking butt in the challenge. I love it. Challenge number 2 is to hit 20,000 steps. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is I already see like Lala, you hit 17,000 steps the other day? Like you can totally do 20K over the weekend. Like so many of you can hit that, and many of you have. Type in the chat 20K if you've done it. Okay? And the truth, guys, is on the weekends, a lot of us will have more time, right? And actually, this goal is great for the 2 other mini challenges I've created. Day 6 is exploring a new place. Day 7's your biggest walk yet, right? I think that's what it is. I don't remember. Maybe I flipped it. But anyway, you'll have to look at the screenshots. I put that all in the group earlier this week. So 20K, right? So I'll give you 2 points for each day moving forward. You hit 20K. And then I'll give you 2 extra points per day if you get 5K by noon. Okay? And those of you who are listening to that and you're like, that's way more than I even want to do or can do, like, don't even worry about it. That's like bonus extra. Okay? I'd rather you like just stay with where you're at. I want to keep your momentum. Okay? All right, ladies. So that's it for now. I'm going to pop into the group later today with a special announcement. Get out, get walking, share your photos below of who you're walking with today, and I'll pop into the group later. Bye.